Welcome to Stager Savvy, insider secrets to stage your home and sell it for more. My name is Stephanie. This is the podcast where we bring you the latest tips, tricks, and expert insights from the world of professional staging. And I'm joined by my friend and fellow staging expert, Kandice.
Hi, everyone. We may be competitors in the Denver market, but we believe in abundance and collaboration over competition, and we're here to share our collective knowledge with you. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn from the experts. This is Stager Savvy.
All right, here we go. We are going to jump right in. So today we're talking about real estate photography. I always say staging comes down to two things. It's price, it's presentation. Realtors are the experts in the pricing. We're not going to touch on that, but presentation comes down to professional photography and professional staging. Separately, they're both great, but when you pull them together, they really create those impactful photos that are going to drive traffic to the listings. So today we have a guest. Yay. We have a guest, Michelle. Can't even say your name. Michelle Guzinski from Shoot the Listing. She's a professional photographer here in the Denver area. And we're just going to chat all things photography that go along with home selling and all of those things. So Michelle, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got started in the world of real estate photography.
Well, I have always loved photography and videography. To me, they really go hand in hand. I'm a very visual person just naturally. That's just kind of how my brain works. And even as a little kid, I loved picking up a camera. I loved picking up the old VHS camcorder that we had at home and shooting little skits and music videos and stuff like that. So I've always loved it. Yeah. Kind of hope those tapes don't exist anymore in real life because they're.
Oh, by the way, I have a clip. No, I'm just kidding.
That would have been fun.
Right. So I've always loved it. And it just so happens that the town I grew up in Iowa had a really great college that had one of the best communications programs in the country, quite honestly, Waldorf College in Forest City, Iowa, a little tiny town, a couple thousand people. And I got the opportunity to go to college there. And my mom happened to work at the college. And so I got to go tuition free. And it was a wonderful experience. It was literally cutting edge technology in this tiny little college. As an example, after the first semester, my freshman year, my parents, who both went to Arizona State University, we happened to be down visiting family over Christmas break. And my mom's like, well, just check out ASU. Let's just go look at their communications department. We're here. Let's just make sure this is a good, Waldorf's a good fit. Because I didn't even look anywhere else. Oh, wow. And it was with the head of the department, who was the only one around on campus. And he takes us into the studio that they actually broadcast their PBS NewsHour from Arizona State University nationally. And it's an amazing studio. And he's like, and we have this really great state-of-the-art, and he's pushing buttons on this lighting equipment and board that I've used already as a freshman in my first semester at college. And he's like, and then it's just automatic and it just goes. And I'm like, actually, can I try? He goes,
my gosh.
Oh, yeah. And I go, you want to hit the instruments at the percentage and then go, doosh, like all the lights came on in the studio. And he was like, where do you go to college? So that's an example that technology is what I love. I found the place, I found the niche that was in my backyard of amazing technology at Waldorf, and professors who really knew their stuff got us into the technology first day of class. And in 3 years, we got 8 semesters in. So we were able to graduate in 3 years. And that launched me into broadcast television. And I really love TV is what I really loved. And the promotions, the marketing, that fun side of it that's really creative and not so newsy and not so heavy. Mm-hmm. So I got my first job in Oklahoma City, actually. That was the biggest demographic market I knew in broadcast, which is the big deal. And worked there for about 1.5 years. Was Oklahoma. And I'm not a great place to live. Sorry if you love Oklahoma, but I always wanted to live in Colorado. And so I had the chance to move to New Mexico, work at another TV station. So I had the opportunity to move to Colorado and take on a job for a company that couldn't quite hire me as an employee, but they wanted the full video production. And So I moved to Colorado, bought all my equipment and ready to start. And I'm like, okay, ready to go. And their project totally fell through. So here I was nannying for a family. So I had a free place to live and all this equipment, and I didn't know what to do. And I thought, real estate photography, real estate videography. I can do that. I can totally do that. So let's start doing these video tours. Mind you, this was in 2002. This was before YouTube. I was producing these on tape, editing the videos and putting them on DVDs and VHS tapes. We didn't have broadcast internet. We didn't have video internet yet. We had graphics and good stuff like that and pictures.
Yeah.
So we had all the pictures on the MLS and stuff like that, but there was no video capability online at that point. So found out I was way ahead of the curve, but the content was really great. I couldn't get any realtors to give me a chance except for a handful of friends that I made networking. So I'm like, I know how good this product is. I know how good it'll work. So I went and got my real estate license, actually, which was no small feat.
I didn't know that.
Mind you, I had no business being involved in real estate transactions whatsoever, but it got me to hang my plaque, my license. What did I call it? Yeah, hang my license with Coldwell Banker up in Fort Collins, actually. And so I was able to go to the sales meetings. I walked into the first sales meeting, stood up, introduced myself. After the meeting, people were like, you can do this, you can do that, you can do, I want pictures, I want flyers, I want a video. Well, tell me about this video. I want to do that. And I have this open house. And that's all I had to do. Mind you, it was a total pain in the patootie to get that license. That is hard. It was a hard test. Passed it on the first try though. So that was kind of my launch into actually getting clients in real estate. And at first the video really took a back seat and the photography is what was preeminent. And it always will be for the MLS, for brochures. We still did a lot of print stuff back then because this was 22 years ago. Wow. And so flyers were really, we'd make those huge flyers and you'd leave them at the house so people could take them with you. And they had to be super flashy and fancy. So the graphic design elements that I knew and all that kind of stuff. So, and I've just kept doing it. In 2008, when everybody went in the real estate market, the marketing and the photography was kind of one of the first things to go. And so that was a real eye-opening experience of how deeply involved I was in the real estate marketing. And I hadn't branched out much past that as far as clientele. And so that was a tough couple of years. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Wow. That's so crazy. Get your real estate license so that you can get in the door with all of these agents. That's insane. Good on you.
Well, and I'm sure you guys know as stagers too, just getting a call back and showing your value.
They don't want to talk to anybody. They get sold to all the time, right?
Exactly. And I get that. I totally understand. So I had to set myself apart, and that's how I chose to do it because I had more time than money at the time, so I couldn't spend money marketing myself other than knocking on doors and passing stuff out, and it wasn't working because everybody was doing that. So that's how I did it. And it worked.
That is awesome. Gosh, you kind of we have a list of questions here, and you've kind of touched on all of them like through the story. So that's amazing. No, it's good.
That's good. Well, what's your favorite part about doing real estate photography?
So I say I am not good at shooting people. I mean, I do enjoy people and landscape photography, but there's something really neat about being able to capture a space because it is really tricky. It's one of the hardest things to photograph, I think, with lighting and angles, and you want it to feel realistic, but you want it to be in its best light. So that's kind of what I like about it, and one of the challenges, because I'm always up for a challenge, I will say, in all aspects of my life. But the real estate, walking in and being able to feel the space. When we sold our house a couple years ago, obviously, I used my realtor friend to list it, and I did the photography, and it was literally the worst house I ever shot because I was too familiar with it. Like my eyes had seen it so many times and didn't notice things. And that's one thing that you as stagers know too, is fresh eyes in a space can sometimes make all the difference. That's never see we talk about
all the time. Like the homeowners can't necessarily see it. So when you get a pro to come in and show you what your space looks like. Like, yeah, totally get it.
Totally. Yeah, yeah. And like your basket of sponges next to the sink and scrub brushes, of course that's going to be there because you use that every day, all the time.
Right.
Oh, it looks horrible. And you can't just set it in the sink and we got to wipe the sink down because we can see those spots too. Like taking what you do and then magnifying it.
Right.
Let me ask
Right,
you
exactly.
about those things. When you come into a house that has those things sitting out and you're going to photograph in the bathroom, are you one of those people that moves that stuff out of the way? Or do you expect it to be already moved and you just shoot past it?
I really like to arrive on a shoot with either the listing agent or the stager physically there at the address, at the property. So we can walk it together and we'll just tuck things in, change light bulbs is another big one that nobody notices except me. And color temperature.
Yes, for sure.
And color temperature is a really big deal in photography. And it's a little devil in the detail because if I want natural light coming in from this window, but that reddish light coming from the bathroom is creating, it's just really hard to work with. So my agents and stagers usually carry their own pack, like the pack of light bulbs that are all the same color temperature and da-da-da-da-da and all the little things. But I am a photographer. I will move stuff. And I will straighten things up, not stager level, but like move the sponges, take the bottles out of the shower, like those little things that homeowners never see and they won't see it. And that's okay. But it takes me, 15 minutes just running around the house, making sure all the lights are on and everything's just kind of tucked in. I shove stuff in closets. I shove stuff, like under the sink and under the bed and like little things, just tucking the tag under the pillow, when you look at the pictures afterwards, yes, I can Photoshop that. But it's so much better if you just get it right in the first time because every angle around the room is important. So to answer your question, Kat, I do.
I see photographers skip those things all the time. And then I see them in the pictures and it drives me bananas. Like, I wish they had just, done whatever. So it's nice to know that you actually take the time to go through and look at things first.
Well, it hardly takes any time out of my time. And in the long run, that 15 minutes running around the house, even if it's 30 minutes, that's going to save me in post-production. Like it would take me even longer to Photoshop that. True. So I would rather do it on location than after the fact. One of the things I do hang my hat on is I'm very fast in editing my pictures. I'm usually on site. If we do just photos, usually about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. If we do photos and video, I do walk through videos too. And that's usually an hour and a half to 2 hours. But doing that, also, especially if I'm doing a video, because that is unforgiving. Like I can't just edit out stuff in video nearly as easy as I can in photos. So I'll spend the time and do it right the first time. But that's where stagers come in. I mean, that's always my first question when I have an agent call me and say, "Hey, you got time on Thursday?" I'll be like, "Yes. Have you been to the property?" Is usually my first question. No, but she says it's really good.
Oh gosh.
Okay. Have you seen pictures? No. Okay. Are you gonna go there before Thursday? Hopefully I'll get there Wednesday. She's got cleaners coming Wednesday morning, and I'll go check it out Wednesday. I said, "Is there gonna be a stager?" Well, I'm waiting to hear back on the stager. I'm like, okay, I will pencil you in for Thursday, but I will block out Friday and hold Monday open because as you know, 9 times out of 10, the homeowners are like, we're ready to go. We're ready to go.
Yes.
They're not. Right.
They're not. There's so much to do. There really is. And you need you give them the list of things to do and it's overwhelming. And then somebody has to go in and help, whether it's the agent or the stage, whoever, and just one last pass right before I get there. And that makes all the world a difference. It really does. And it's totally worth it to the sellers, to the agent, to the photographer. I mean, stagers are so important. And I'm glad you guys are showing the importance of staging and really highlighting how critical it is in the entire real estate transaction.
Yeah. Thanks, Michelle.
Stephanie, do you go to properties prior to photos very often?
Not very often, but it's something I need to promote more as far as
I
like a
think so.
consult is maybe it costs a little more. It's this much, but it includes that hour coming back right before the photographer or with the photographer or whatever, so that we can have that last pass and make sure all the details are right. Because I mean, I try to give them all the info so that they can actually do it. But sometimes I see the pictures and I'm like, oh, darn it, they didn't do whatever.
So close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's one thing too of communicating with, sorry, Candice, communicating with the photographer and say, this is what I told them to do. Make sure, double check the laundry room, or you know what I mean? Like where we're all in the same circle and we're all working towards the sale of the sale is the goal, you know, and we're just pieces into it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think especially with males, maybe divorcees, that would be a really good time to offer that service because they aren't great at the details. And so if you wanted to look a certain way, you're probably best to offer that service. So I don't do it very often. And I think that's something that is needed.
It's really good. I will say most of my clients I do video production with as well. And my videos are quite a bit different than most other videographers that do photography and video, in that I actually put the agent in the picture. I put them in it and let them introduce the property. So we're getting a hot touch, the marketing term, of seeing the realtor face to face and looking right in their eyes. And she's saying, hey, come on in. So it makes it feel like you're just talking to me. Yeah, like this is my own personal tour. And so I do that. And so the agent has to be on location in order to make that happen. And so that's extra bonus is they're also here. And so they can also run around, kick your shoes off. You know, they look great, but kick them off. Let's run around. Let's turn everything. Let's get everything ready and make sure it's how you want it and what you were expecting to see after the stager's done. And the homeowner did their list and they just packed up the kids and ran out of the house. Let's go through real quick and just make sure. And 9 times out of 10, we're both about 15, 20 minutes. We're just tucking everything in, making sure it looks good, all that stuff. And it really does. And it gives the agent the confidence too of knowing what it looks like when the potential buyers walk in.
They've done a full walkthrough. They know exactly.
Totally. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Instead of like, okay, let's go through with the camera and hope it looks good when we get to each room.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, and a lot of times they have white towels or stuff that maybe the owner just has brown towels, and boy, white would really make this, you know, they just keep like a box, you know, the crate, you guys know, the crate of stuff. And a lot of the agents too carry just a few things just to make it clean, just make it look clean, because that carries through on pictures too, and video.
Yeah, what's in that agent's box? It should be light bulbs, right? It should be white towels, some fake plants, maybe some throw pillows.
Yes. Yep.
So
pick a color scheme and just commit to it. And you'll see the same agents use the same pillows and like, like, oh, that lime green is super popular right now. So here it is. And all of them, and then here's the next listing and we see them all. And that's okay, because from one to the next, nobody's going to notice except for us, because that's what we see. But nobody else is going to notice. And it does. It looks great. And then you only have to buy a few things, you know? So that definitely helps. And it helps that agents really realize that. And it shows in the end product of the professionalism that the agent starts with. Adding a stager adds another level of professionalism. Adding professional photographers, adding professional video. I mean, it just builds their portfolio of success. And
why wouldn't they all do it?
I mean, it's like one of your main pitches, like your cell phone is not taking good. Like, do you have to convince agents of that all the time?
No, pictures. I think it's pretty well instilled in them that
they're there.
Pictures.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
The hang up does it.
Yeah. The hang up usually is turnaround time. Like if these agents need to get this in the MLS tonight, because a lot, like you were talking divorce. I mean, some of them, like there's legal reasons it has to be in the MLS tonight. Well, my turnaround is usually about 4 hours on still pictures. And so you're getting them tonight. So where other photographers are at 24 to 48, if there's a weekend thrown in, even longer, you're getting them tonight from me. Like we're going to do a shoot about 10 in the morning. And then because I'm fast. Well, and I learned that from being in television. You have 2 hours to get this done and make it look amazing.
Sure. It's going to be on the 5 o'clock news, so you have to be ready.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I have the systems and processes in place. I know my shortcuts. I have the I know my software. I know my technology. So it makes it much faster and much more efficient for me, which in the long run is cheaper because it takes me less time.
Right.
So I come out faster and cheaper than most other photographers.
That's amazing. And you have 22 years experience.
I know, right? Been doing this for a minute.
That is awesome. Okay. Do you have a favorite home, like a memory of a home that was just fabulous and amazing that you love the very most that you can tell us about?
Oh my gosh. I've had some doozies. I've had the full spectrum of properties. I've had some where I'm like, I don't want to walk in there because they were so gross and not lived in for a couple years.
Yeah.
I've had two, maybe just two. Because I used to live in Fort Collins, which is a college town. CSU is up there. And so yeah. Go Rammies. And so one of my agents always got really great duplex and condo listings. And a lot of their dated properties in the 70s, they've been rented for 40 years, not the greatest condition, but not bad for college kids. They don't really care, so they just clean the carpets and they're usually vacant. And so taking pictures of those, my philosophy on pictures is never show the property in a negative light. If it's a 5-bedroom and 4 of those bedrooms look amazing, and then the teenage son's bedroom wasn't touched, I might not I'll take a picture while I'm on site, but I may not submit it to you to the agent, because people don't necessarily look at pictures and go, yes, yes, yes. They're waiting for the no. They're waiting for the one going, that's a deal breaker. Yeah. I'm not buying that house because that picture showed that it has the 30-gallon hot water tank. I never do, like there's deal breaker pictures and I don't show those. I will not take, I will stand in the other corner and I will shove everything back, literally like a, like here's the door. So some of the properties have been kind of sketchy, and those are the hardest because I hate showing a negative anything about any property. Right. But on the other side of anyways, the townhomes and condos I would take pictures of would sell. They get under contract with the parents that are like out of town buying for their kids to go to school, because a lot of college towns do that. Parents buy a condo, let them live in it for 4 years, and then cash out, sell it, after the 4 years are up. And so people are buying stuff sight unseen, like in person, just off my pictures. I'm like, it's a feather in my cap. And then I get there and they're like, oh, this is a little darker than I thought. Yeah. Or, oh, I don't know. Like the pictures made it look really, really good. And I'm like, thank you. I don't know. Did I do too good a job on that one?
Yeah, that is the thing about the pictures is they can really
highlight it look good. I mean, that's
the negatives disappear. So
right.
I mean, that's the whole point of marketing, but that's why you have a buyer's agent, and they have to go and did they actually walk through it for you? Did they represent you honestly and really honestly look at the pictures or look at the property, not just the pictures? Yeah. So, I mean, my whole purpose is to get feet through that door is how I look at it. Is I will do my best job to make the house look amazing, to get people there, because I mean, it's the exception of people buying stuff without seeing it in person, for sure. But normally it's just to get people through that door, and get as many possible showings as possible is my goal.
Yeah. So we're very similar. Right? Our businesses are very similar, and then that's the goal for us as well. We want people. We're really doing staging for the photos, those photos to get buyers in the door. So you're doing the photos, we're doing the staging, and that's why we're such good power partners together.
Right? Yeah, it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it's totally copacetic. Yeah. And your success, my success, depends on Stager's success. Like as good as you can do. And I can't get any. Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I'll make it look good and make sure everything's staged right, and that they did it right, and call you. Go, did you really mean to do that? Is this? Did they forget to do something, or can I close this door off? Can I, what's the plan over here? That kind of thing. Because we're both all visual people, that's what we see.
Yep.
Now, Michelle, do you do any interiors photos where they're not the big wide angle photos, but more of the little vignette kind of things that we as stagers set to capture buyers' emotion? Do you ever do those even on the side for the stager or anything like that?
I do. I especially in historic homes, when there's really neat
Features.
history, I guess it's when the house just speaks to you, because to me houses have a personality. I really think they do.
Sure.
And they're kind of this almost living thing. When you walk in a house, if it's been vacant for a year, you just know, you just feel it. Or if somebody just moved out, and I don't know why, I don't know how it works, but like there's personality to a house. And there are some corners that are just like, how sweet is that? Look at that. Those built-ins are beautiful and they've been here for 100 years.
Yeah.
Or this was super intentional and somebody absolutely put time and thought into this, and I'm going to snap those. So I do grab close-ups. My photography style isn't super wide angle. It's not ridiculous wide angle. So many of those, all you end up seeing, if you take one of those pictures and you cut it down, like a third of it is just ceiling going over your head.
So true.
I don't need to see that. Like, that's not helping this room look good unless there's a skylight up there.
Beams or something.
Yeah, like we could tilt down, we could show the flooring if it's super cool flooring, but I usually end up, I want to say 18 millimeter is about as wide as I go. I forget. Oh, that's the nuts and bolts of it, as wide as my angle goes. But there's some that 12, I think, is almost a fisheye, and that's kind of the industry standard right now. Yeah. And then you get into the HDR, the high definition stuff that takes a lot of post-production to basically kind of stitch together pictures at different different focus lengths, different lighting, different all those things. And then it doesn't feel real anymore to me. I really like the authentic, real feel. And I'm not going to fake it. I'm not going to overly edit things like that.
Great.
Yeah. One of the things I tell,
we see our photos and they are so wide and they're so light.
Yeah.
They don't have real color in them. And so it's kind of upsetting sometimes for us when we've worked hard with the colors and whatnot to come back and look at the colors and you're like, that was a green and now it is an off shade of blue. So I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yep.
One other thing, like with windows, the HDR really took off so you could see through the window, right? So you could see the view outside and inside, which is natural to the human eye. And I get that. But if outside that window, it's the neighbor's house or it's a brick wall or it's nothing of importance or detriment, power lines, I'm going to, when I shoot it, I'm going to let that window just be light coming in the house. And I'm not going to let you see through the window because again, that's a negative. I don't want it to be a negative. So just look at all this light that's coming in.
Yeah.
That's all you need to see.
Right.
So I do stuff like that too, where if it's not good, I'm not going to show it, but you'll see photographers, there's that everything. You can see everything inside and out. And I'm like, and it's so flat and it doesn't have a single shadow in any of their pictures. Mine do. Mine have shadows. Mine are very real. And I will white balance. I'll take actual lighting off of colors that are existing in the room and set that as my white balance so that everything feels natural.
I love that. Stephanie, I have one more. Do you have any?
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I just added the
I was
ones.
just thinking, what do you say to agents who insist on taking their own photos? Is there anything that you say to get them to be believers in professional photography?
I have early on in my career, somebody was like, I don't need to hire. I got this fancy camera. I can do my own pictures. And then onboard flash. And so so every picture was like so bright, like the flash. I was like, yes, you may be saving a couple $100, but in the end, you're losing that couple $100 on the amount of people that come through to actually see your listing. You're losing it on the sales price, your commission, and more importantly, future business. That's what realtors really need to see, that every listing, yes, is a transaction and they're making money off of this transaction. But this listing is the springboard to the next listing and the next listing.
That's right.
And then that one gets 3 more over there. And so it's not just how can I pinch pennies today? It's how can I set myself up for success in the future? And when we went through 2008 and what we're kind of going through right now, where agents are like, see ya. I mean, they're getting real jobs. You know I mean?
Right?
Sorry. Not that it's not a bona fide profession, but a paycheck. Just because when you're not getting any transactions, you still got to eat. You still got to, keep your own house. That setting themselves up for success. The people who have success through these low times are the people that are going to launch. So now's not the time to pinch pennies. The slow time's the time to spend more, so that when it does pick back up, you are first in line for the referrals.
And your portfolio looks so good because you've done all the things throughout. That's
totally.
Part of one of my trainings is a big, like, all of these things that you're doing to market are actually setting you up for success later on. And it'll eventually just kind of snowball, and the referrals and the other agents will know that your listings look so good.
Absolutely.
That they're going to want to partner with you, or, whatever. And other people who walk through listings, visitors to your listing, will be like, wow, this place looks good. I want this person to be my agent. Right. Exactly. I mean, it all just.
And professionalism begets professionalism.
Yes, for
sure.
So
you treat your clients as a consummate professional. They will recognize that. Then the next one, then the next one. And then the referral circle starts going. And so how many times have you guys been asked, who's your best agent if I want to buy in Brighton? You've got a list.
Absolutely.
They're best for Brighton, but if you want to go in Morrison, here you go. Let me give you this name. Oh, you want Larkspur? Oh, sure. Here you go. You've got the list.
We've got our people
that have not just hired you, but recognize the professionalism. And then that's what you want people to have, your friends, to get that professionalism, because this is one of the biggest transactions of their life. I mean, selling a house is no big deal, and it's no time to skimp on anything.
Totally agree.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's a great way to end. You have others that you want to ask her about?
I don't think so. We had a couple of stager questions that we can maybe tack on to the end, because some of our listeners are stagers.
Sure.
Like Kandice, you had wanted to ask something about partnering with stagers directly, or even doing like lifestyle or interior photos for us at one of the jobs that we had. Do you do things like that?
I do. And I have, she's not in the area anywhere, but it was a stager that worked locally, and she's in Texas now, and I can't remember her name. But she had me do that just to build her portfolio. Yeah. She had me come in. It wasn't even for sale. It was just after projects that she had done. Yeah. And I do that too. To really, like you're talking about, the vignettes, the real thoughtful pieces. And when you have a property and you're like, I snapped the before, and that's the other thing. Please snap before pictures every staging job, so that you, like, even if it does hit the market, you can contact the photographer and go, hey, your pictures are amazing. Can I use them in my portfolio with my before and my after for my staging? And I will give you credit. That's usually all you have to do. Most photographers will be like, yeah, for sure. Because again, that's in the circle of people that are going to hire us. So yes, I do those, even if a house isn't for sale. I usually don't put the stager in the picture, because again, I don't do people. I can, but I like inanimate objects. Don't move. But yeah, and that is something that you can always ask a photographer for sure.
And so there's been lots of discussion in the staging world about using a photographer's photos, and
I'm glad you touched on that.
The copyrights, infringements, and all of that. And so, what would you say, to a stager who you noticed one of your photos on their page or something like that?
First of all, you're right. It is a very gray area, and I'll tell you why. The person behind the camera pushing the button has first right of copyright. They are the creator. However, they're getting hired and paid to do this specific job. So that kind of tacks on to the original copyright because it's for hire, but still the photographer will always own the first right of copyright unless a waiver is signed or a contract is made. I don't work with contracts. I work with people I like. They know what I can do. I give them the product. If they're not satisfied, I don't know if I've ever had a reshoot. I don't think I've ever had somebody not satisfied. But that can get gray.
Yeah.
And then you're in somebody's private property. So it can get very gray. All I'm going to say is ask. I mean, photographer, you like my picture? You like it that much? You want to use it? You're going to give me credit? Okay. 9 times out of 10, that's what you're going to get.
There's this discussion about, it's our intellectual property. We're staging this is such that you're photographing. And so there is this kind of, like you said, gray area where it's like you're photographing what we did.
Yes.
So now, a lot of stagers think, oh, well, I should get to have those automatically. But I'm glad we're having this discussion now.
Yeah. And I see where you're coming from. Like if it were a model, of course, that model would have rights to that too, would be in part of that copyright. But because they're inanimate objects and not actual humans, the law doesn't recognize it. So even though you made this beautiful thing, it's not technically artistic enough to fall under the law of copyright. It's more behind the picture. But if there was a person in there, that changes everything. Now we're getting into model releases now, and that's a whole nother thing. And that's one of the things. Like I have a drone too. I have my FAA license, and I fly a drone above most of the properties. And again, I won't fly my drone if it's not going to help the property. Like if it's backing up to whatever, an 8-lane highway, I don't think we want to shoot that. Let's shoot this way, kind of thing. But they're always like, get the park. There's a park down the street and a swimming pool. Get the park. And I'm like, what time does it open? What time is the pool open? 10 o'clock. All right. Well, I have to be there at 9 because I can't have anybody. I can't have any kids or anybody in those pictures of the park, of the playground, of around the house, out the window. If I do have to blur those. Like the rule of thumb is can their mother recognize them? And that's how you know legally if you've obscured their identity, their face, recognizable. So if their mother can't recognize them, then you're fine legally.
Interesting.
How that falls into there you go. Learn that one in television. Ooh, those are turning.
So as long as we ask permission from you, you're getting that extra exposure too, because we're tagging you on these photos.
And the photographer may give you a different copy of the same picture with their logo and their exactly how they want it written. Copyright 2004. Shoot the listing, all rights reserved, photographer Michelle Guzinski, blah, blah, blah. Who knows? But that's fine. I mean, you're just going for the aesthetics, you're just covering your tail. But the professionalism, back to the professionalism, that you're then turning around and showing the photographer of great work, love it. You made my stuff look amazing. Thank you for that.
We want to acknowledge the great work of the photographer, right? I mean,
exactly.
Look what they did. This is so great.
Yeah, and we work together. And hey, let's find another shoot. And hey, so that as a photographer too, down the line, I got a listing, and the agent's like, I don't know, I haven't been to it. I'm out of town. I can't. I'm like, then I'll go. I got a stager. Can we send her over? Just get some eyes on it before I get over there.
Right.
Just have them take a look at it. If you don't have time, that's fine. She'll just come over. She's got time. There you go. And so who am I calling first? I'm calling the people that showed the professionalism back to me.
Right.
And referring them out.
Yep.
I love it.
So good. All about referrals and networking and all the people we know, like, and trust, right? I mean, that's what it all comes down to always.
Yeah. And it is a small world. I mean, there's a bazillion agents out there. I mean, I think the market is very saturated, especially the bigger markets like this, where one transaction is a good payday. And so, and letting everybody know that carries that professionalism, that we know in this world of who's the photographer that's going to hide the shampoo bottle, that out of the thing, like, because I'll see stuff and I'll be like, nah, why? Call me next time. Like, how do I do that?
Right.
Well, some of those big photography companies are sending out various people, and so that I don't particularly like that, because then I don't know who it is that's shooting my stuff. I much prefer to work with somebody like you, Michelle, to be partners in it,
yeah. Well, and partners is a good word for that too. And there is something about sending a person that you don't know into somebody else's house who you barely know.
It's a personal thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's our home and our closets and our
I'm opening your drawers to show the stuff that you love. Like I'm There needs to be this kind of safety. And I'm not saying full background check, but I know what you're talking about. And those big companies, you don't know who you're getting. You don't know what travel fee they're going to tack on. You don't know when you're going to get your pictures. You just know what corporate policy is, and you don't know it's Michelle. You know what you're getting. And I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday because I'm volunteering at my kid's school. You know what I mean? Like we're real people.
Yeah. Michelle's a mama. She's doing the mama things, but you're working hard and doing your business, and it all works, right? You can make it all work.
Yep, exactly. Well, and I just want to touch on one more thing about the video that I'm bringing to it. Now that technology has caught back up from 20 years ago, you do see a lot of people offering video services and things like that. And I think the one thing that really sets me apart is I put the agent in the video to introduce, and then I go and I walk around and I shoot it. And then at the end, the agent was like, "Isn't that wasn't that a fun, great house? Here's the schools, here's the location. Give me a call." So it's that hot touch. But in the middle, in between those, while we're walking through the house, I also do a voiceover. Because if you're going to have moving pictures with music, why aren't we talking about it? Why aren't they giving you content? You're listening to it. So let's talk about the square footage. Let's talk about the neighborhood and the features. And did you see this is Korean, whatever, like all the stuff that we're walking around. Let's talk about it. And that's one thing that I've yet to see anybody do.
I feel like that elevates it so much too, because now it's like a whole thing, and
it's
you're telling them what they're seeing.
And I will say mine, I don't edit a whole lot. So you see everything. So that's why, the staging and getting everything ready for the pictures is critical, because for that video, I can't, move the treadmill back into the other room, while I shoot this room. Like it's all got to be put away and it's all got to be ready, which is what you want when the potential buyers walk through the door. You want it to be ready to go. So just do it. Yank off that Band-Aid, stage the house, get it right, get it ready to go, and work with your sellers so that it is 100% ready for when those buyers walk in the door. For all that money. Cash off, please.
There you go. What do they say? It's never worth more than the first day it's on the market. So it has to look good that first day. I mean,
totally. Yep.
You don't want to reduce the price and redo pictures in 2 weeks because you didn't do it right the first time.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, no. Yep. Do it right the first time. It's 100% worth it, and it will always pay off.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, yay. I think I don't have any other questions. Candice, do you have anything else?
No, I'm not off the top of my head. I think that was great. Now, Michelle, tell us your company's name again.
It's Shoot the Listing, because I do real estate photography and only real estate photography. I don't do people. I don't do weddings. And you can reach me on Facebook. I know my Facebook page is disgustingly out of date. But it's also, I believe, shootthelisting.com should still be working. When COVID happened and nothing, and then I had a baby, and then now he's 4. So we're still catching up on the stuff. I've been doing work, but just going straight to the agents. Oh, and that's the other thing too, is when I produce something, I give it to the agents. I don't put it on my website and then share the link to them so that people keep having to come back to my website. It's theirs. I Dropbox it straight to them. So they publish it as their own on whatever MLS, their own personal website, their own social, all that stuff. It goes straight. So it comes from them, because I don't want to be the middleman. I don't want it to come through me. I want it to go straight from the agent.
That's awesome.
So.
This was great.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us, Michelle. Thanks for all the info and all your insight. I love it. It was so good, so informative. Longer than normal, so maybe we'll split it into 2 sections.
Sorry.
See how it goes.
I told you I could talk.
It's such good info, though. Like, I don't want to stop 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
All good.
All right. Well, thanks, ladies. Love your show. Good job.
Thanks.
Glad you're keeping it going. That's the hardest part.
Bye.
See you later.
Thank you for listening to Stager Savvy, insider secrets to stage your home and sell it for more. We hope you've enjoyed our discussion on home staging and gained valuable insights that you can apply to your own real estate journey.
If you have any questions or ideas for future episodes, or would like to learn more about our services, please feel free to visit our website, stagersavvy.com, or reach out to us directly at stagersavvy@gmail.com. We're always happy to help.
And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast to stay up to date on the latest episodes. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to us, and it helps us improve our content and reach more people.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.